For the first time in his UFC career, fan favorite Kevin Holland will fight in his hometown, and he's bringing a pivotal welterweight showdown with him. Holland took to social media on Thursday to announce he is signed to face fellow Texan and top 15 contender Geoff Neal at the upcoming UFC Houston card in the first quarter of 2026. The matchup provides Holland, 25-11, 1-C, with a critical opportunity to reverse his recent momentum in front of a friendly crowd. Despite an active 2025 that included impressive wins over Vicente Luque and Gunnar Nelson, Trailblazer enters the bout on a two-fight skid, having dropped a decision to Mike Malott in October after a knockout loss to Reinier de Ridder. Overall, he has lost 4 of his last 6, making this a clear crossroads moment in his campaign to re-enter the 170-pound title conversation. Standing across from him will be Geoff Neal, the number 14 ranked welterweight, who is equally desperate for a resurgence. Neal hasn't competed since a devastating spinning back elbow knockout loss to the surging Carlos Prates at UFC 319 last August. That defeat marked his 3rd loss in 4 fights, with his sole victory in that stretch being a hard-fought decision over former lightweight champion Rafael dos Anjos at UFC 308. Stylistically, the fight promises fireworks. Holland is a charismatic, unpredictable striker with underrated grappling and a relentless pace. Neal, known as Hands of Steel, possesses legitimate one-punch knockout power and a crisp boxing game. Both men are at their best when pushing forward and trading in the pocket, setting the stage for a potential fight-of-the-night contender. The booking comes at a dynamic time for the welterweight division. New champion Islam Makhachev is reportedly targeting a legacy fight against former king Kamaru Usman for his first defense, leaving the rest of the top 15, including contenders like Ian Machado Gary, Michael Morales, and the aforementioned Carlos Prates, jockeying for position. For Holland and Neal, this is more than just a hometown battle, it's a lifeline. A victory, especially a decisive one, would instantly re-establish the winner as a dangerous player in a deep division. A loss, however, could mean a prolonged stay on the outskirts of relevance. With pride, ranking, and career trajectory on the line, the Houston crowd is set to witness a high-stakes Texas showdown with everything to gain and even more to lose.
UFC featherweight contender Diego Lopez has a simple message for the fans and pundits questioning his rapid return to a title shot. Your criticism is stupid, and it won't stop him from seizing his opportunity. Lopez is set to challenge champion Alexander Volkanovski for the 2nd time in less than a year, headlining UFC 325 in Sydney on February 1st. The booking has drawn scrutiny from a segment of the MMA community who believe other contenders, namely the undefeated Lerone Murphy and Movsar Evloev, have a stronger claim to the next championship opportunity. In a recent interview, Lopez responded to that criticism with a mix of bafflement and blunt defiance. "I don't understand why," Lopez said of the backlash. "Since the fight was announced, people think, oh, you having this fight for the belt? Oh no, you don't deserve it. Come on, guys, this is stupid. This is stupid thinking in the head of these people." The Brazilian standout, who fell to Volkanovski via unanimous decision in their first encounter earlier this year, made his case based on merit and activity. After the title loss, he rebounded with a spectacular second-round knockout of Gene Silva in August, a performance he believes forcefully reinserted him into the championship conversation. "Before my last fight, many times in interviews people asked me, if you win this fight, are you next for the title? I told them, look, there are 2 guys undefeated, both guys can fight for the title, but I have one great fight in front of me. If I take a great win, I put my name again on the table for the title. I think I did this. I got a great knockout in the 2nd round, and I put my name again on the table." His reasoning is pragmatic. When the UFC offered him the rematch, he wasn't going to refuse. You get the opportunity, what are you supposed to say? No? I don't understand why the people are so mad at me only for accepting the fight. Lopez concluded with a direct, no-nonsense retort to his detractors. Don't like, don't watch, and I still fight for the belt. It's easy.
The debate highlights the often contentious nature of UFC matchmaking, where winning streaks, timing, and promotional appeal can sometimes outweigh a strict adherence to rankings. While Murphy and Ayvaev have compelling resumes, Lopez's exciting fighting style, his competitive showing against Volkanovski in their first fight, and his highlight reel knockout victory made him an attractive choice for the UFC's return to Australia. For Diego Lopez, the noise is just background static. On February 1st, in Volkanovski's backyard, he'll have the chance to silence the critics in the most definitive way possible, by taking the featherweight throne. Brandon Moreno is choosing activity over anguish. Just days after a controversial TKO loss to Tatsuro Taira at UFC 323, a stoppage widely criticized as premature, the former flyweight champion is reportedly already slated for a swift return to the octagon. According to reports from Russian MMA outlet Vestnik, a pivotal flyweight matchup between Moreno and the surging contender Asu Almabayev is in the works for the UFC's return to Mexico City on February 28th. If finalized, it would mark a remarkably quick turnaround for the assassin baby, putting him back in camp almost immediately after his last fight. The move is a testament to Moreno's resilience. After his loss to Taira, he took to social media to voice his frustration with the referee's decision, but evidently he has no interest in a prolonged hiatus. Instead, he appears ready to channel that disappointment into a high-stakes booking that could quickly reround him back toward the title picture. The proposed opponent presents a formidable and stylistically intriguing challenge. Asu Almabayev, 19-2, has been a quiet force in the division, most recently submitting former title challenger Alex Perez at UFC Qatar in November. A dominant grappler with relentless pressure, Almabayev represents a stark contrast to the striking heavy Taira and would test Moreno's elite-level scrambling and submission defense. For Almabayev, this is an opportunity of a lifetime, a chance to defeat a former champion and Mexican icon in his home country, which would rocket him into the division's top 5. For Moreno, it's a perilous but necessary gamble. A win re-establishes his contender status, while a loss would mark his first 2-fight skid since 2018 and create a much longer path back to gold. The flyweight landscape is in flux. New champion Joshua Van may be tied up with an immediate rematch against the injured Alexandre Pantoja, leaving the rest of the top contenders, including Taira, Amir Albazi, and the winner of this potential bout, to jockey for position. By reportedly accepting this quick and dangerous fight, Brandon Moreno is sending a clear message. He won't let a controversial ending define his narrative. He's taking his career back into his own hands, aiming to turn the page on UFC 323 by headlining in front of his home fans and derailing a rising star in the process. The UFC lightweight division's most perplexing standoff has taken a new, cryptic turn. While top-ranked contender Arman Tsarukyan has publicly expressed frustration over being bypassed for an interim title shot, UFC CEO Dana White has now strongly implied that the reasons extend far beyond the official narrative, hinting at serious, undisclosed behind-the-scenes conflicts that have severely damaged Tsrukyan's standing with the promotion. The controversy centers on the UFC's decision to book an interim lightweight championship fight between Justin Gaethje and Paddy Pimblett for UFC 324 in January, despite Tsrukyan holding the #1 ranking, fresh off a commanding second-round submission victory over Dan Hooker at UFC Qatar in November. White has repeatedly stated that Tsrukyan must work his way back after his last-minute withdrawal from a scheduled title bout against then-champion Islam Makhachev at UFC 311. However, in a recent interview with the Mac Life, White suggested the rift runs deeper than a simple missed opportunity. "He's here. You know what I didn't do? Didn't cut him, didn't go sideways with him," White stated, denying any overt personal animosity. "We don't dislike him," but he quickly pivoted to a more revealing tone. "It is what it is. It's not like I've confronted Arman. Arman's a man. He knows how this played out. He knows how this all went down behind the scenes. He knows. We all effing know. I don't ever talk about this shit publicly. White concluded with a line that has ignited rampant speculation across the MMA community. A lot of man shit happens in this fucking business, and we keep it between us men. It is what it is. Arman knows. These comments strongly indicate that Tsrukyan's withdrawal at UFC 311, reportedly due to a back injury just hours before weigh-ins, was merely the public-facing incident in a series of private disagreements or breaches of protocol. Industry insiders interpret White's phrasing as a reference to potential conflicts over fight week conduct, contractual expectations, communication breakdowns, or issues of professionalism that created a significant breach of trust between the fighter and the promotion. In the high-stakes, relationship-driven world of UFC matchmaking, such behind-closed-doors friction can often outweigh even a sterling in-cage record. The fallout for Tsrukyan is a state of competitive purgatory. He is effectively frozen out of a title picture that will see the Gaethje Pimblet winner face undisputed champion Ilia Topuria, potentially locking the division until late 2026. With no fight currently booked, Tsrukyan is reduced to staying busy through external grappling matches, as with his upcoming bout against Shara Magomedov, while his peers compete for UFC gold. White's decision to vaguely allude to these private matters without disclosing details creates a unique and frustrating dynamic. It paints Tsrukyan's situation with a shadow of unspecified fault, making it difficult for fans and analysts to fully assess the fairness of his exclusion. It transforms his plight from a straightforward debate about meritocracy into a saga of backroom intrigue, where the most important facts remain hidden under the veil of man shit.
As the UFC prepares to close its 2025 campaign, Canadian bantamweight Melissa Cronin stands on the precipice of a rapid ascent. Set to face the number 15 ranked Luana Santos at UFC Vegas 112 on December 13th, Cronin understands that a victory could catapult her directly into the divisional rankings after just 2 UFC fights, a prospect that has her focused and ambitious. "It's a new thing to consider and new goals to be had," Cronin told MMA Canada when asked about the potential ranking. "If I am successful against Luana, then I would potentially be within the top 15 after my second fight in the UFC, which is, I feel like is a fast track to that top 10. If things go well, I could be in the top 10 pretty quickly if I keep finding these successful moments, so I'm ready for the ride." Melissa Cronin made a successful UFC debut in August, earning a decision win over Tainara Lisboa, a common opponent she shares with Santos. Now she faces a significant step up in competition against a ranked fighter with a distinct stylistic challenge. Santos, a former flyweight with a judo specialist background, presents a puzzle Cronin has been diligently studying. "I respect her immensely as a fellow martial artist. I know that she specializes in judo, so that's what everybody is going to be focusing on, the defense on those throws and wall work." Rather than being intimidated by Santos's expertise, Cronin approaches it strategically. You kind of have to flip your mind instead of being afraid of, "Oh, what are they so good at?" rather than, "Okay, they spent so much time getting good at one thing," which means they haven't spent a lot of time in other aspects of the fight game. Despite acknowledging Santos is well-rounded and dangerous, Cronin believes her physical advantages and well-prepared game plan will be key. "I think again I'm going to have the size advantage, but that doesn't always mean everything. I'm really excited about the challenge. I'm glad that she's good, because if I do well, it means just that much more." For Melissa Cronin, UFC Vegas 112 is more than just the final fight night of the year. It's a gateway. A win over a ranked judoka like Luana Santos would instantly validate her UFC arrival and place her name on the shortlist of emerging contenders in the bantamweight division, setting the stage for a potentially breakthrough 2026.
Alexander Volkanovski has built a legendary MMA career on defying expectations, but his latest move left even his most dedicated fans utterly stunned. In a surreal twist that has set the combat sports world ablaze, the reigning UFC featherweight champion made a surprise appearance in the newly released trailer for the upcoming Street Fighter film. And he did so sporting a full, bright blonde head of hair, portraying the relatively obscure character, Joe. The trailer itself is a spectacle of 1990s video game nostalgia turned live-action chaos, featuring an all-star cast including Roman Reigns as Akuma, Cody Rhodes as Guile, Jason Momoa as Blanca, and 50 Cent as Balrog. Yet amid the explosive visuals and recognizable faces, it was Volkanovski's transformation that dominated the conversation. For a fighter whose iconic bald-headed intensity is a trademark, the sight of the Great as a blonde-haired Joe was nothing short of whiplash-inducing. Social media erupted in a mix of disbelief and delight. "It's so frickin' weird seeing Volk with hair for the new Street Fighter movie," one fan exclaimed, while another declared, "Him with hair is hilarious, lol." The initial shock quickly morphed into amused admiration, with comments like, "Volk does not look right with hair, but I love it," and "He looks great with that hair." Many applauded the audacious creative choice. Not only did they give him a wig, but a blonde one. "I love this so much." However, the cameo also sparked genuine confusion. Joe, who is Joe, became a recurring question, as even hardcore Street Fighter enthusiasts struggled to place the character. This only added to the bizarre charm of the reveal. Why is UFC featherweight champion Alexander Volkanovski playing some guy named Joe? One user pondered, highlighting the delightful oddity of a global MMA star embodying such a niche role. Inevitably, the trailer also fueled jokes about Volkanovski's fighting schedule. "Bro is doing side quests now," one fan teased, while another quipped, "No wonder Volk ain't got a fight announced yet, MF been working a movie." The overarching sentiment was captured by a fan who noted, "Won't be surprised if I see him acting in more movie scenes," sparking speculation about a potential post-fighting career in Hollywood. Yet, for all the cinematic fun, Volkanovski was quick to reassure fans that his focus remains squarely on the octagon. The age 37-year-old champion is still scheduled to defend his featherweight title in a highly anticipated rematch against Diego Lopez at UFC 325 in Sydney on February 1st. In a recent interview, he firmly shut down retirement rumors stemming from the movie buzz. "No, it hasn't been planned to be my last fight, so you don't need to worry about that." In fact, the cameo seems to reflect Volkanovski's lifelong approach, embracing new challenges and enjoying the journey. But his competitive fire burns as brightly as ever. Beyond the Lopez rematch, the Great has a clear, unfinished goal in mind, becoming a two-division UFC champion. He acknowledges that a third shot at the lightweight title isn't in immediate demand, but he envisions a path back through dominance at 145 pounds. "Being a champion is a responsibility. I'm gonna do what I need to do, and then maybe after that it's fair to call for a champ-champ fight," Volkanovski explained, outlining a plan for 2026 that could see him finally capture the elusive second belt that has narrowly slipped through his grasp twice. The Street Fighter trailer, then, is not a sign of distraction or decline. It is a testament to the multifaceted life of a modern athlete, a man capable of throwing down in a title fight one month and stealing scenes in a major film the next. Alexander Volkanovski remains, as always, a champion exploring every arena available to him, all while keeping his sharpest focus on the legacy he intends to cement inside the UFC cage. The wig may be temporary, but the greatness is permanent. Justin Gaethje has built a legendary reputation on delivering chaos and knockouts. But for his UFC 324 interim lightweight title fight against Paddy Pimblett, the highlight is hinting at a surprising twist in the script, a submission victory. Entering the January 24 headliner as the betting underdog, Gaethje dismissed the notion that his grappling is a liability to be exploited. Instead, in an interview with Submission Radio, he suggested it could be his avenue to an unexpected finish. "Maybe I'll sub him," Gaethje stated. "That's gotta be 1,000,000 to 1 odds, though." The comment is a stark departure from the expected narrative of a stand-up war. Gaethje acknowledged his past struggles against elite grapplers like Khabib Nurmagomedov and Charles Oliveira, but he pointed to a critical evolution in his game. "Since the Charles Oliveira fight, I've really trained a lot of jiu-jitsu, a lot of grappling, and I've actually been enjoying it a lot more than I ever have," he explained. His primary confidence, however, remains in his takedown defense and striking. Gaethje believes Pimblett will have to win the fight on the feet first to create any grappling opportunities. "My ability to keep people from taking me down is second to none," Gaethje asserted. "So he's going to have to compromise me with his punches and kicks and knees, then he'll have a better chance." When assessing Pimblett's striking, Gaethje rated it a 7 or an 8, acknowledging the Brit's power and forward pressure. He plans to counter Pimblett's aggression with his signature brand of controlled violence. "I've always said I create car crashes. I want to be the object that gets there first and has the most force, and that's by controlling his feet and running him into dangerous positions," Gaethje said. The stakes for UFC 324 are immense. The winner will claim the interim lightweight title and secure a future unification bout with undisputed champion Ilia Topuria. For Gaethje, a victory would make him a 2-time interim champion and set up a potential career-defining opportunity. By floating the possibility of a submission, Gaethje isn't just predicting a win, he's engaging in a subtle mind game, forcing Pimblett in the public to question the entire scope of his threat. Whether the fight ends with a familiar Gaethje knockout or a shocking tap-out, his prediction guarantees that all eyes will be on the mat as much as the feet when the octagon door closes in January. The fortunes of Australian welterweight Jack Della Maddalena may have dipped with his title loss to Islam Makhachev at UFC 322, but his standing within his nation's fighting community remains unshaken. As fellow Australian Sarah Collins prepares for her own championship moment in the PFL, she offered strong support for her compatriot while highlighting the current boom in Australian MMA. Collins, who battles Chris Cyborg for the PFL featherweight title this week at PFL Europe 4, was asked about Della Maddalena's defeat. "I mean, Jack's still a great fighter. I just didn't think it was his night," Collins stated in an interview with Bolk's Talking Bouts. "It was a hard fight to win that one, but I think Australian MMA at the moment is at its peak. We have so many good males and females in the UFC and PFL and other organizations. Our local scene is booming at the moment. I think that Jack will come back better and stronger, and so will all the rest of Australian MMA." Her comments underscore a resilient, forward-looking attitude prevalent among the country's fighters, focusing on collective growth rather than a single setback. However, in the cutthroat world of UFC matchmaking, Della Maddalena's loss has made him a prime target for other contenders looking to climb. Surging Brazilian striker Carlos, fresh off a spectacular knockout of former champion Leon Edwards at UFC 322, has publicly named JDM as his desired next opponent should he not receive an immediate title shot. Carlos laid out his strategy in an interview with MMA Fighting, targeting an April date in Las Vegas. "He just lost the belt, so we'd beat him and for sure go straight to the title," he said. "That's what we want. By mid-next year, we're there for the belt." The potential matchup is a compelling stylistic clash between two of the division's most feared pure strikers. For Carlos, a win over a recent title challenger like Della Maddalena would be the perfect final credential before a championship bout. For the Australian, it represents a dangerous but opportunity-rich path to rebuild his momentum and stake a new claim in the welterweight top 5. As Sarah Collins vies for PFL gold,
Her supportive words for Della Maddalena reflect the camaraderie of Australia's fight scene. Yet, the call-out from Carlos is a stark reminder of the UFC's meritocratic reality. A former title challenger is never just rebuilding in private. They're being sized up as the next step on someone else's journey to the top.
Mario Bautista's path back to the bantamweight title picture will run through one of the division's hottest fighters. Following reports from MMA Fighting and other outlets, Bautista is slated to headline UFC Vegas 113 on February 7th at the Apex in a pivotal matchup against the surging Brazilian Vinicius Oliveira. The bout represents a critical rebound opportunity for Bautista, a longtime teammate of Sean O'Malley. The 31-year-old saw his impressive 8-fight win streak snapped in October at UFC 321, dropping a unanimous decision to the highly touted Umar Nurmagomedov. Despite the setback, Bautista remains a ranked contender, and a victory over a streaking opponent like Oliveira would swiftly re-establish his momentum in a 135-pound division, freshly under the control of newly crowned two-time champion Petr Yan. Standing in his way is perhaps the most difficult test outside the top 5. Vinicius Oliveira, 23-3, has been flawless since earning his contract on Dana White's Contender Series. Lopedog is 3-0 in the UFC and riding a 6-fight win streak overall, with recent victories over established names like Ricky Simon and Said Nurmagomedov. His most recent outing was a statement-making unanimous decision win over the dangerous Kyler Phillips at UFC 318, proving he can handle both power and pace. Stylistically, the fight promises fireworks. Bautista is a well-rounded athlete known for his crisp boxing, solid wrestling, and relentless pace, with notable wins over veterans like Jose Aldo and a finish of former Bellator champion Patchy Mix. Oliveira brings explosive striking, creative offense, and a confident swagger that has made him a must-watch prospect. For Oliveira, a main event slot against a ranked veteran like Bautista is his chance to leap into the top 15 and announce himself as a legitimate title threat. For Bautista, it's a must-win to avoid a 2-fight skid and prove he belongs in the conversation with the division's elite. While contracts are still being finalized, the targeted matchup is a perfect piece of matchmaking for a UFC Apex headliner, a high-stakes clash between a proven contender looking to reclaim his spot and a hungry, undefeated prospect aiming to steal it. The rest of the UFC Vegas 113 card is expected to be announced in the coming weeks. Following the grueling culmination of a historic but ultimately unsuccessful 2025 campaign, Merab Dvalishvili has been offered some veteran wisdom from UFC Hall of Famer Michael Bisping. Press pause. After seeing his UFC bantamweight title reign end in a unanimous decision loss to Petr Yan at UFC 323, Dvalishvili finds himself at a career crossroads. Having fought 4 times in a single calendar year, defeating Umar Nurmagomedov, Sean O'Malley, and Corey Sandhagen before the Yan rematch, the physical and mental toll is undeniable. While the competitive fire still burns, with Dvalishvili already calling for an immediate trilogy, Bisping believes the wisest path is one of patience and recovery. In a recent video on his YouTube channel, The Count acknowledged Dvalishvili's claim to a rematch but urged a strategic retreat. Merab probably deserves the rematch if we're being honest, Bisping stated. Look at the body of work, then yeah, he probably does, but there's Umar Nurmagomedov out there. I would say let Yan defend for a minute. Take a break, brother. Have a little bit of time off. You've done incredible things. Bisping's advice taps into a deeper understanding of the sport's relentless grind. You've represented your country at the highest level, and you have put yourself through it, he continued, advocating for a substantial respite. Have 3, 4, 5 months off. Rest on your laurels. Reap the rewards of your riches and your spoils, okay? Relax. Take a break. Let the body and the mind relax a little bit, then come back and look to take your throne.
This council comes at a pivotal moment. The bantamweight division is moving swiftly, with Yan now as champion and a queue forming behind him. Umar Nurmagomedov faces Davison Figueiredo at UFC 324 with a likely title shot on the line, and other contenders like Sean O'Malley are looking to re-enter the picture. An immediate rematch is not a foregone conclusion. For Dvalishvili, a fighter whose identity is built on relentless activity, stepping back may be the ultimate challenge. Yet, a period of recovery could be his greatest strategic advantage. Returning refreshed and retooled, rather than diving directly back into another brutal camp, could allow him to address the tactical gaps Yan exposed and return as an even more formidable force. Bisping's message is clear. The throne will still be there to reclaim, but only if the machine takes the time to properly refuel. The greatest fight right now might not be against Petr Yan, but against his own relentless nature.
In a surprising show of solidarity, former lightweight champion Islam Makhachev has come to the defense of his one-time rival, Arman Tsarukyan, publicly disagreeing with the UFC's decision to exclude the top-ranked contender from the immediate title picture. The controversy stems from the UFC's booking of an interim lightweight title fight between Justin Gaethje and Paddy Pimblett at UFC 324, with the winner said to face undisputed champion Ilia Topuria upon his return. This leaves Tsrukyan, who solidified his #1 ranking with a dominant second-round submission of Dan Hooker at UFC Qatar in November, in a state of competitive limbo. UFC CEO Dana White has been unequivocal about Tsrukyan's position, stating the Armenian must work his way back due to his last-second withdrawal from a scheduled title fight against Makhachev at UFC 311. Makhachev, however, sees the situation differently. In a recent interview with Red Corner MMA, the now welterweight champion questioned the promotion's logic. "The organization may not like it, but they make more and more fights that I don't understand," Makhachev said, offering a rare critique of UFC matchmaking. "Of course, I think Arman should have gotten the title shot." Makhachev outlined the practical consequence of the current plan, a lengthy delay for Tsrukyan. "Let's be honest, Arman is not going to fight anytime soon. It's Pimblett versus Gaethje. Whoever wins, he gets a shot at Topuria, meaning one more year of layoff for Arman, and it's tough." Despite his defense, Makhachev also injected a note of hard-earned perspective, referencing his own long climb to the title. "Although I've had the same period in my career, I had 10 fights before getting the title shot, so Arman should probably wait a bit and be patient." Makhachev's comments carry significant weight, as the man who vacated the lightweight throne to become welterweight champion, and as Tsrukyan's original scheduled opponent, his opinion underscores the perceived meritocratic imbalance. He acknowledges the business realities, but stands by the sporting principle. Tsrukyan's recent performance and ranking should have warranted the opportunity. The defense adds a compelling layer to the ongoing narrative. It transforms Tsrukyan's plight from a solo grievance into a point of debate even among the sport's elite. While Tsrukyan prepares for a grappling match against Shara Magomedov to stay busy, he now has a powerful, unexpected ally in his corner. Makhachev's stance highlights a growing tension between undisputed merit and the promotional machinery, with one of the UFC's most dominant champions suggesting the machine may have gotten this one wrong.